This row over Rohingya rehabilitation in Delhi has not gone down too well with the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, the Hindu group attacking Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri and saying that instead of housing Rohingyas, push them out of India. In fact, the VHP not wanting to give out a helping hand to the Rohingya Muslims. They condemn this move by the centre, hitting out at the Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. VHP now said, instead of housing Rohingyas, push them out of Bharat. RSS also reportedly unhappy with this move. RSS sources tell us not very happy with the decision. This goes against the grain of the CAA. There are detention centres in Assam for Rohingya refugees. What happens to them? Vinod Bansal, who's a VHP spokesperson, joining us on that. Mr. Bansal, a quick word on what's the sentiment with what the central government has decided to do with the Rohingya Muslims. They've decided to place them in permanent homes, give them shelter with basic amenities and police protection. They are basically following, the government is basically now going to be following the UN's guidelines to house refugees. Your take on that?
Well, the question is that this is not the following up merely the UN guidelines. So the government has to follow their own guidelines too. The Union Home Minister has categorically said in this in his statement in the Parliament that the Rohingyas are the threat to the national security of the country, and we will throw them out of the boundaries actually. You see, the Honorable Supreme Court has also said like this that to identify and deport them all from the country. Even though the extent is very surprising, all of a sudden we are not able to provide the housing our residents well, and we are providing them this type of not only the housing and the security facilities to these Rohingya infiltrators also. What type of policy we are following it, and the government should take stock their own policies. And आप देखिए कि जो देश की सुरक्षा के लिए खतरा हो, जिस पर के स्वयं न्यायालय ने कहा हो, स्वयं भारत सरकार का क्लियर स्टैंड हो, पार्लियामेंट में जो सरकार का स्टेटमेंट हो, इन सब के बावजूद भी हम उनको रहने के लिए भी देंगे, खाने के लिए भी देंगे, उनको सिक्योरिटी भी देंगे. What fun we are doing here? मुझे लगता है कि इसको तो इन सारे जो इन्फिल्ट्रेटर्स हैं, उनको सबको बाउंड्री से पार करना चाहिए तुरंत. समझ में नहीं आया कि आखिरकार ये डिसीजन कैसे, किसने और कब लिया. And
Mr. Bansal, while you say that Rohingya Muslims are a national threat, who are you quoting at this point? In fact, we do know that the BJP extensively also have considered Rohingyas as threat. But now with the union government now, the centre taking a U-turn on this, do you believe that they feel that it's more important to rehabilitate them and deal with this threat in a more civil way instead of pushing them out, maybe follow the guidelines of the UN?
No. UN guidelines are not to be followed at the cost of the security of the country. You see, the security of the country is more important, or the UN guidelines is more important. Number one. Number two is that we have given them this refugee status. You see, all those refugee passes which were clear given to few of the Rohingya Muslims have already been got expired. And to my information, I think nobody has these passes with them. Secondly, that जो infiltrators हैं, जो threat हैं security, जिनको स्वयं न्यायालय कह चुका था, उन सबको हम बताने की बात कर रहे हैं. इट्स वेरी सरप्राइजिंग यार. ये तो वैसे हुआ जैसे कि कर्नाटक सरकार ने और कुछ और राज्य सरकारों ने जिनको सुप्रीम कोर्ट के ऑर्डर के बाद में इनको आइडेंटिफाई करके डिपोर्ट करने के लिए एक जगह रखा था, तो वहाँ पर एक वहाँ का लोकल कोर्ट कहने लगा भाई, since they are the foreign nationals, you will have to provide them the facilities according to the foreign national and foreign laws. तो ये हुआ भी जो अपराधी हैं उनको हम शरण देंगे, उनको सुरक्षा भी देंगे और पैसा भी देंगे, उनको मेहमान नवाजी भी करेंगे, और हमारे देश के लोग चाहे भले उसको मार दें या उनको जो सिक्योरिटी के लिए थ्रेट हो या लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के लिए चैलेंज हो, इवन दो वी विल टेक देम एज आवर मेहमान. तो ये तो ठीक नहीं है ना.
But what Hardeep Singh Puri says that refugees or people who come into our country for refuge will not be denied. India is always welcome to people who are seeking refuge, and that's the policy that we will follow.
Absolutely,
And do remember, Mr. Bansal, even the Rohingya Muslims there have faced persecution extensively. So they've sought help from India.
No, you see, nobody has taken help from India. They have been infiltrated into things. There is a big difference between the two. आप देखिए कि देश के अंदर हजारों लाखों की संख्या में हमारे पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश से जो शरणार्थी आए, जिनको मारा पीटा गया, समर्पित किया गया, उनको तो आज तक सरकार ने कोई सिटीजनशिप नहीं दी, उनको तो कोई सिक्योरिटी नहीं दी, उनको तो कोई फ्लैट नहीं दिए, जो कि परेशान है बेचारे. और दिस इज द पार्ट ऑफ अवर नेहरू लियाकत एग्रीमेंट ग्रुप. उस पर तो गवर्नमेंट काम नहीं कर रही. आप मुझे बताइए, इसको लेकर के जो नेशन सिक्योरिटी के थ्रेट हैं, उनको हम पालने की बात कर रहे हैं. ये तो बड़ा मतलब दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण बात है.
नेशन सिक्योरिटी थ्रेट बोल रहे हैं, बट देयर आर very few cases of violence that are linked to Rohingyas. It's not something for. If that was the case, then do you believe that the government has overlooked this security threat extensively?
तो मैं कह रहा हूँ कि गवर्नमेंट ने खुद कहा है, दिस इज नॉट माई स्टेटमेंट अलोन, एंड neither the quoting any this NCRP report. The question is that the Union Home Minister categorically said himself in the Parliament.
Mr. Bansal, you're basically quoting the central government on what they said of Rohingyas and how they are a security threat, and now it seems like the Modi government is taking a U-turn on this. But Mr. Bansal, thank you very much. I'm going to quickly cut across to India Today's our national editor, Rahul Srivastava, who joins us for more on that. Rahul, a quick word on Rohingya Muslims who now will be rehabilitated by the centre. Hardeep Singh Puri says that India never turns away refugees. We're going to follow the UN guidelines on how to place them at this point. They will be given permanent houses, flats, basic amenities, and even security round the clock. Many Indians themselves do not have those facilities. Clearly, the VHP and few other organizations like the RSS also taking offense to this.
Nabila, the genesis of this, the origin of this is a meeting in Delhi which took place in the last week of July. Now, this meeting was chaired by the Chief Secretary of Delhi, attended by senior officials of Delhi government, Delhi Police and Ministry of Home Affairs. And a decision was taken after this high-level meeting over the accommodation of Myanmar nationals. Now, we call them Rohingyas, but this is also a matter pertaining to the UNHCR. In terms of refugees, and that is where there is a certain state obligation that India has to comply with. And in that, one clarification which is there is that when we say permanent accommodation is in view of the kind of structure. Right now these Rohingyas, 1100 odd them, are housed in tents in the Madanpur Khadar area. The move is to shift them to permanent structures, that is the EWS flats built in the Bakkarwala area of Outer Delhi. But it is not that they are getting ownership of the flats. So the permanent is slightly misplaced here. It is the permanent structure. They will be shifted there. There are 250 flats belonging to the EWS category where Delhi Police will be providing round-the-clock security, one. Second, they will all be given UNHCR ID cards, which will become the valid ones. Beyond that, the Delhi government will be, the Social Welfare Department of Delhi government will be providing basic facilities such as fans, free meals, landlines, and other recreation facilities as per the UNHCR charter. And largely, this is an obligation. Yes, definitely it flies against the BJP stated position, but this is also a kind of an international commitment that a government has to make. And that is why one finds suddenly that the RSS and the VHP are targeting the government over a decision taken which is under the UNHCR compulsion.
That's expected. These are Rohingya Muslims who the BJP themselves spoke on how they could be a national threat, a security threat, etc.